Good evening and welcome. My name is Taylor Kingman, and as president of the Board of Trustees of the San Angelo Independent School District, I would like to welcome all of you who are present at tonight's regular board meeting. I also welcome those of you who are watching the recording of this meeting online or on our public access channel, Optimum Channel 4. We appreciate your interest in the activities of our students and the business of SAISD. All items that will be discussed at our meeting this evening have been posted as required by state law. Also, as you may be aware, our board meets a minimum of 2 times per month, and most, if not all, items on our agenda this evening have been previously discussed at our earlier pre-agenda workshop. As members of the SISD Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from our superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, and to make policy for the district. Please keep in mind that our meeting is a meeting of the Board of Trustees held in public and not a meeting of the public. However, we have a public comment item on every one of our meeting agendas that allows anyone present who wishes to speak to our board team and on an item not on our action agenda or an action item on the agenda an opportunity to do so. Please provide your name and contact information and the specific topic you wish to address on the public comment form located at the back of the room. Please listen carefully and comply with the following rules so that we can move through this part of the meeting efficiently. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes. The district will provide an official timekeeper. The district's timekeeper will report and record the time. You will be notified when your time is up. You are to stop speaking and return to your seat. You will not be given extra time. Please respect the privacy of others and refrain from identifying students, employees, or other community members by name. Disruption of the meeting will not be tolerated at any time, and comments on any subject, whether positive or negative, must be courteous and respectful. Comments are limited to the specific topic you indicate on the form you fill out. Any speaker with a specific complaint about a district employee, decision, or operational issue should present that complaint through the appropriate mechanism, which is the district's formal grievance process. Speakers with a specific complaint will be referred to district administration for information about the grievance process. If you already have a pending grievance being processed by the district, you will not be permitted to speak about the grievance during public comment. Also, please understand, if you speak to us on an item not on our action agenda, that the board cannot reply to you except to thank you for your comments, since the matter has not been posted for discussion. In compliance with state law, these proceedings are recorded and will become a part of SAISD's permanent legal record. In order that the recording will adequately reflect the proceedings, I ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking. I also ask, as I remind my fellow board members, to please turn off or silence your cell phones. Again, thank you for being here and for your support of SAISD. We do have a quorum this evening. Our board team is here except Ms. Arroyo, who had a previous engagement. She has to attend today. She was at our pre-agenda meeting but was unable to make this evening. With that, we're going to move forward to our invocation, and Reverend Matthew Rowe from Emmanuel Episcopal Church is here to deliver that invocation.
Well, good evening, and thank you for the invitation. And good evening to you, our neighbors in my neighbors in the community. Well, let us pray. Almighty God, you are the source of life and wisdom and knowledge, and we pray, Lord, that you will send your spirit of wisdom and knowledge to the trustees tonight as they take counsel for the business of our school district, and we pray that they will listen respectfully in dialogue and debate, and that the decisions made will benefit our students and our community as a whole. And we thank you for their service to our community and for our school system, and pray your blessing upon all in our city. We pray in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you. Now we're going to move forward with our pledges of allegiance to the United States and Texas. We have 5 students here from Bradford Elementary. We have Jose Soria, Sebastian Soria, Melanie Hayes, Mia Hayes, and Mariah Hayes. We did a family thing tonight. So If y'all five would come forward and help us with our pledges, we'd appreciate it. If anyone wants to come, if parents, if y'all want to come take pictures, and Molly, if you want to take pictures. Thank you all again for being here. All right, we are now going to move forward with our recognitions, and it looks like Molly Turk gets the first set.
Good evening, Dr. Kingman, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board. Tonight, we have the very honorable recognition of a group that has been blessing and supporting our San Angelo ISD students and schools for nearly 2 decades. Our friends at DESK, which many of you may know is short for Donate Educational Supplies for Kids. These incredible supporters of public education dedicate their time, energy, and talents to raise funds for our SAISD students who are in need of school supplies to learn, grow, create, and think critically. To provide a little background for those unfamiliar, DESK was founded in 2004 by board president Eric Wilson, who identified an unmet need in our community and set his focus, determination, and generous spirit on finding a solution. That solution was the formation of a board of concerned Concho Valley community members who set out to raise funds for SAISD students in need of school supplies. Since 2004, DESK has raised nearly $1 million and brought countless smiles to our students, ultimately helping them to succeed in the classroom and beyond. This year, DESK has generously given students school supply money in total of $77,000. That's over $70,000 that is allocated and then distributed out to our campuses, helping individual children have the supplies they need to be confident and to be on a path to succeed. Each campus in the district receives a percentage of the total amount of money raised. So please join me in recognizing DESK members and contributors for helping SAISD students receive the supplies they need and joining the district in supporting their hopes and dreams. Thank you to McDonald's, First Community Federal Credit Union, Dr. Pepper, Sam's Club, KLST, San Angelo Standard Times, Town Square Media, and Key Club International. We are honored to have with us tonight some of the DESK board members so that we can show our gratitude. Board members, when we call your name, please come forward, and then you will stay so you can take a photo with Dr. Detloff. So thank you to Eric Wilson, Vicki Loso, Diane Wilson, Cheryl Book, Ken Grimm, and Andy Mayer, who was going to join us but cannot be here. So thank you so much, DESK. Very appreciative of all that you do for SAISD. Dr. Detloff?
Yeah, and if y'all come around, and I just want to reiterate, thank y'all so much for what y'all do for SASD. All right, we are now going to move forward with some more recognitions of our community partners for San Angelo Reads. And Sun Cha.
Good evening, Dr. Kingman, Dr. Detloff, and distinguished members of the board. We are so proud to live in a community where the spirit of generosity is alive and well, and it was so wonderful to see it in action during our 4th annual San Angelo Reads celebrations of our community-wide literacy initiative earlier this month. Tonight, we recognize and honor all of our generous community partners who contributed to the success of our San Angelo Reads Day on December 6th and our San Angelo Reads North Pole pop-up event on December 7th. We'd like to extend a special thank you to HEB, our San Angelo Reads Day partner. HEB is greatly involved in our community, with education being one of the 9 pillars to which it is committed. Excuse me. On San Angelo Reads Day, HEB generously provided each and every one of our SAISD 3rd graders with a brand new copy of the book, Looking Like Me. HE Buddy also added to the fun of that day through his visit with 3rd graders during a live read aloud of the book at Bowie Elementary. We simply could not make San Angelo Reads as effective or fun for our community without generous partners and supporters of public education that care about San Angelo like HEB. With sincere appreciation, tonight we recognize our 2023-2024 San Angelo Reads Day and Reads North Pole pop-up event partners. This year, we had a record-breaking 63 community partners participate in our San Angelo Reads celebrations and join us in the fun and important cause of championing literacy. If you will direct your attention to the monitors, you will see who these wonderful community partners are. And it's kind of small because there's just so many of them. 50 of these community partners participated in our North Pole pop-up event on December 7th. That's more than double the number that participated last year. It was so wonderful to see how much fun the children and families were having, enjoying all the activities and spending time with each other. And it was especially entertaining watching celebrities like H.E. Buddy, the Chick-fil-A Cow, Wada Guy, Yusela the U, the Grinch, and Santa interact with everybody at the pop-up event. We extend a sincere thank you to each of these wonderful businesses, organizations, and their special celebrity spokespeople and animals for their support of our San Angelo community, students, and San Angelo Reads. We also sincerely thank and commend our SAISD campuses, departments, and incredible difference makers that made the 2-day celebration a fun and impactful way to inspire a love of reading with our students and the community. Finally, we have invited here this evening our very special San Angelo Reads Day partner, HEB, to accept our appreciation. Tonight, on behalf of the awesome HEB team, we have joining us Joshua Jones, who is the top store leader for our original HEB, Daniel Amiet, operations leader for our newest HEB, and Odessa Schmidt, community coordinator and a former San Angelo ISD teacher. If you can please come forward at this time. We sincerely thank you for your commitments and dedication to San Angelo and our students, the future of San Angelo. Dr. Detloff, if you'll please join us for a photo.
All right, we're going to continue to move forward with our recognitions, and this one will be recognition of Dr. Carl Detloff, Superintendent of Schools. This is Dr. Detloff's last board meeting, and so although we have celebrated him on other occasions, we're going to take a few moments to celebrate him again this evening and all he has done for our district. Thank you, Farah.
Absolutely. So at this time, if Dr. Detloff and Dr. Kingman would please come forward. This fall marks Dr. Carl Detloff's 33rd year in Texas Public Schools and his 9th year as superintendent in San Angelo ISD. San Angelo ISD and the entire community of San Angelo have been fortunate to have Dr. Detloff's leadership for his 15 years in San Angelo. This plaque is in dedication of his service as superintendent of schools. He has served as an influential public school leader and a positive example for students, families, staff, and community leaders. We extend our deepest gratitude to Dr. Detloff for his service. We thank Dr. Detloff for his support and contributions in providing students with a high-quality education. Under his and the San Angelo ISD Board of Trustees leadership, SAISD has made a transformative impact on the lives of students. In his retirement, Dr. Detloff will continue to support public education as he will work with a nonprofit education organization in Texas that exclusively represents the interest of children and provides fair funding levels for school districts and teachers. Tonight's recognition is a tribute to his service. Thank you, Dr. Detloff. At this time, if all of our board members could please come up for a group picture. Okay, sure. That should have been your reindeer house.
We did already have a reception celebrating Dr. Detloff, and a lot of things were said, nice, and all nice, actually, but mostly nice. But I do think it's important that we reflect on the fact that over the last 9 years, San Angelo public education, there have been multiple things, COVID, changes in how schools are rated. We've had funding issues. We've had teacher shortages. We've had all sorts of things. And Dr. Detloff's constant guidance with a steady hand and a very caring and fair heart has been paramount to the success of our district and has led to our district being a desirable district to be a part of. And I think your leadership and you as a man has led to so much of that. So I just want to say thank you for your time here in San Angelo, and that you will be greatly missed. And I'm sure the rest of the board would, if anyone else wants to say anything.
Might as well. So, Dr. Detloff's been actually the captain of our ship for probably the last 9 years. But more than that, he's been the rudder of the ship. He's helped guide the district through several significant adversities that public education has never faced before. And because of that, the SAISD is a better district, is able to do more now for their children than 9 years ago. And I think as we just move forward, thanks to, I just want to thank Dr. Detloff for his constant reinvention of the wheel as we've had to do for public education for the last 9 years. So thank you very much, Dr. Detloff. I appreciate your support to the district as well as to public education in general. Thank you.
I was waiting for Gerard to talk. Usually he goes before me. Okay. Carl, I just wanted to thank you for all that you've done for SAISD. And I think I talked at your reception about when you first moved here, your little girls, I remember them in the 4th of July parade at Santa Rita, and watching them grow up and watching you grow as a leader and our district grow as a result of all the work that you've done for us has really made a huge difference in our community and in San Angelo ISD. So thank you for everything.
I will speak. This is hard. As a person that's worked for this district for a long time, all the things that Dr. Taylor talked about, COVID and all that, it takes a strong person to be the leader of all that. And as a teacher, you know, we thought about it, but we didn't have to deal with it. And I would go to work, shut my door, and teach and love my kids. And I knew that Carl and his team would take care of everything else. And as a person to work, you know, under your boss, and to know that, and to never blink an eye, and never to worry that the right decisions weren't going to be made, I was able to continue to do the job that I was hired to do. And Carl and his team did the job that they were hired to do. And I said at his thing too, that there was never a day that I as a teacher, and I speak for all of us out there, did not feel valued, supported. And I mean, what else is there when you go to a job every day? So thank you, Carl.
All right, I'll jump in there. So I haven't known Carl for terribly long. Right after I got on the board, he announced his retirement, and I hope they're not related. But I have enjoyed getting to know you over the last several months, and I greatly appreciate all that you've done for our district over the years. And I know that you've guided us through some very tough times and had to make a lot of hard decisions. And I appreciate all the hard work you've done for our district. And best luck to you. And I know your golf game will get a lot better. So.
I'll go last. No. And I do have my microphone on, so Jack should be happy. Carl, first of all, thank you for everything you've done the last 15 years. Like Amy mentioned, I remember meeting your girls and your wife, and they were little, you know, and seeing them growing up. And, but you led us through a lot of really, really tough times, and you made our job easier. You did, you know, with all the work you did, and I think you made it easier for, at least for me, you know, and you're going to be missed. I'm going to miss you, miss seeing you, miss our golf outings every once in a while when you'd show up at the golf course and go ahead and play. But, and I hope your game doesn't need any work, really. You play good. So you really do. So good luck going forward, and stay busy, all righty? And come back every once in a while. All right.
Well, I just want to kind of rehash a quick conversation that my wife and I, Judy, had about a week ago, and we both agree that moving to San Angelo ISD in this community 15 years ago was simply the best decision that we've ever made. And I just want to thank all of you. I've not only grown as a leader, but I've grown as a person, a father, and a friend. And really that's due to the incredible leadership and philanthropy of so many, even that you've seen this evening in our community. And you know, I'm most proud of the doors of opportunity that we've opened for many of our students through expanded course offerings, through our career technical education opportunities, and just any kids need to be connected in school. And I'm just proud of the many connections that we provide them. I'm also proud of the partnerships in our community. There are not many communities where all the community leaders come together really for the good of the entire community. And I just want to thank our Board of Trustees for allowing me the opportunity to serve this stellar system for 15 years, and it's been a true honor, and I just want to thank you for that opportunity. So I will close. I've been sappy and emotional enough the last month, so I will close with, again, my favorite comment and quote, "Surround yourself with those that lift you up, those that are smarter, savvier, and wiser than you." And I have certainly done that being a team member in San Angelo. So thank you.
All right. We do actually have some business we have to do this evening, so we're going to do that. You don't get to leave quite yet. You have to stay for the meeting. But I do think one thing I want to just add real quick, it would be remiss to not, Judy and your girls, also thank them for what they've, the support they've given both you and the district over the last 15 years. So, all right, moving forward, we have our minutes from our November 1st, 2023 workshop, our November 6th, 2023 pre-agenda workshop, our November 8th workshop, our November 9th workshop, and our November 13th regular board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve minutes?
Move to approve minutes of November 1st, 6th, 8th, 9th, and 13th of 2023.
Second.
So I have a motion from Mr. Gallegos and a second from Mr. Dindal. Any board comment? All in favor say aye. All against say the same. Motion passes 6-0. All right, so now we have public comments for topics not on the agenda this evening. And Mr. Passetti, we have you signed up.
Hello, my name is Virgil Passetti, concerned father. Just real quick, had two things I needed to bring up, but, you know, I'm just a working guy. I'm just a parent. I'm not leadership. I'm not anybody special. I'm just a dad, but, you know, there's two things I see missing here in this room, and it's Pam and Becky. And Pam's leaving as he's leaving, and, you know y'all gave the recognition to them, but I want to say that I'm going to miss those two ladies. I really felt like they were the heart of this meeting. They kept things going. They kept stuff super smooth. They were the ultra professional with me. They were total sweethearts, and I could tell that they were here to do the business for the kids. They were here for the kids. And I respect that. They're going to be missed, and that's a lot of leadership that is leaving this community. And so if nobody else is going to recognize them, I will. And good luck to you two, because you have some hard jobs to fill, because those two made it seem like it was super easy, but it's not. You know, what they do, you never noticed a mistake because they never made them, and they made everything seem so smooth that you just kind of just assumed that Pam and Becky would be there, and now they're not. And so I know I'll miss them, and I hope y'all will too. Second thing I want to talk about, you know, my son came up here last week, poured his heart out to you, poured his heart out to your leadership, HR, this leadership, the rest of the leadership here, and he said, hey guys, we got a problem at STEMS. And he told them how it makes him feel when his STEM teacher yells at him, blows a whistle in his ear, and does those type things. And nobody followed up. Nobody reached out. Not a counselor went to him. And then he comes home Friday and tells me, she blew that whistle again, Dad. And I don't understand why we can't stop that. Because I know District 4 has met my son, and you've met those fifth graders at Bowie. And I know our other member went and met those kids and judged their state projects. Those are good kids. Why are we allowing this lady to run them into the ground? You know, he said he should be surrounded by people that rise him up and are smarter than him and take him to a better place. But yet my son has to go to school, and there's someone there holding him down and rubbing his face in it. And every time he walks in there, he's got so much tension because he's afraid that whistle's coming for him, even though he's a good kid. So if y'all aren't going to do something about it, I'm going to assume it's because you're okay with it. And that makes me sad that you're okay with that.
Thank you, Mr. Paccetti. Next, we have public comments for topics on the agenda of this meeting. Mr. Paccetti, would you like to talk on those this evening?
I didn't know if they were items that I could speak on, so I just put them on there.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome.
Okay. So the first one is about, you know, we have a big decision to make about, are we going to shut down Edison? I called it Edison because when I went there, that's what it was. But now it's ninth grade campus. You know, I'm not in the mix. I don't know what the good ideas aren't. I would hope that maybe we could wait till the new guy gets here. You know, that is a big decision, and he's going to have to live with it. But that's up to y'all, and y'all can vote on it. The one concern I had is when I heard about the amount of money we were going to save, we said that would be a 1% for the teachers. You know, I see admin here. I looked at all your, you know, special pay raises. I've never seen a teacher in there. I've seen people in this room getting 8% raises. And to go ahead and just say, well, we're just going to earmark a little of this money or all the money to get 1% to the teachers, I think that some of our teachers deserve more. I've met some really wonderful, excellent teachers, and I don't understand why they don't get the financial, you know, blessing that we get to all the people in this room. So I would, you know, how does that work out? And then also, is any of that money going to be earmarked for something for the kids? Because, you know, I told you I have concerns with, you know, GT gets $4.5 million for that one particular school, and then we got kids that are playing, my kid's still playing with blocks, while these other kids have drones and computers and 3D printers. You know, can we use some of that savings and earmark it for something that goes actually directly to the kids? Because I think they deserve it, and I think they can utilize it. So, you know, if we're going to earmark those savings, can we do it for something that's multifunctional and it passes through not only to just one thing, but also, you know, I don't know if it's like, you know, the trickle-down effect, like, you know, Reaganomics. I mean, when does it finally reach the kids? It seems like it's always gone before it gets to them. So, you know, if we're going to make this huge adjustment, maybe we should be able to use some of that money for the kids. And then the second item up is Sarah Bernhardt, you know, $94,000. I mean, I could see the look in some of y'all's faces, and it seems a bit steep. And, you know, my question is it totally broken? Is it not functional? Because, you know, we have a lot of other things that are broken. You know, special ed's having problems, bilingual's having problems. We have other areas. Is giving someone $100,000 to come and tell us maybe how to make the air conditioners not mess up the acoustics. I mean, it's nice to have, but, you know, is that the best place for $94,000? So, you know, devil's advocate, once again, is there anything we can do to take some of that money and put it straight to the kids instead of waiting for it to trickle down? Because I've been waiting for 3 years now, and I haven't seen it. It seems to dry up before it gets to the kids that I see. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Pacetti, and we'll have a discussion regarding those when it comes up as a part of our agenda item. All right. Now we're going to move forward with our reports. Our first is a construction update from Mr. Henry.
Tonight I will be doing the update for our partners at Park Hill who sent over a PowerPoint presentation. The first campus we're going to talk about will be McGill Elementary. We continue to have our OAC meetings every other week. Last week they poured the concrete, and that was about a little over 3/4 of the concrete slab was poured. The remainder of it will be poured on the 20th, which is Wednesday. They start about 4 o'clock in the morning, and they should be done finishing it all out around 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the evening. We still continue to get observations from Park Hill, and they're constantly sending those out and checking on all the compaction rates of all the concrete and the slab. Here's a picture of the slab and the grid work. You'll see that this blue part, about 3/4 of that has been concreted, and the rest of that will be done on Wednesday. Here they are pouring some of it at 4. They started at 4 o'clock in the morning on the 7th. The next project that we have is Fannin Elementary. The concrete slab has been poured. It was poured on the 28th. It has reached maximum PSI for the building to start above it. We are continuing to do dirt work around it. The steel structural all arrived on Friday, and the steel workers began today as far as lining it up to get ready to start standing steel up. Here's some pictures of the slab. And there's a picture where they're going to tie in. They pulled all the fascia off of that and sealed it all up to ensure that no rain got inside the building, so that we can tie that in. Do y'all have any questions over any of the construction at these two sites?
Estimated date of completion?
On Fannin, we're estimating that we will be ready to open in August. McGill, we did get a little bit of bad news. We'd been talking about the switchgear delivery, and last week we got word that the switchgear won't ship until 9/6. So we do have contingencies in place that we're going to be working with, but right now that's 9/6 is when the switchgear, which would be all the electrical panels and everything, will ship out. So it does put a wrench in our 1st of August planned start date of school.
Well, we look forward to hearing plans for that in the future, so as we go forward. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Dr. Brandon, we got our student enrollment report for the 14th Monday of school, November 27th. We were at 13,180 of that day. Any questions? Oh, there you are. Yeah. Sorry.
Dr. Kingman, Dr. Detloff, Board of Trustees. So as we look at the attendance enrollment report each Monday, you know, we've looked year over last, and so as we started this school year, we began to ask the question, so rather than year over last, what are we doing week to week, right? Are our students consistently here? And so we began to, the report that you have that's showing from all the way back from the third Tuesday of school, 13,159, and then growing that all the way through now to 13,180. We feel good about the attendance. And then special shout out, we've began to add down at the bottom of that report. So the first 6 weeks of school a year ago, attendance was 94.5%, and you see this year it's 95.5. So kudos, right, not only to our students and families that find that very important for their child to be here, but also administration. I know the principals and teachers are working on that. What are we doing daily, for children to be excited to be in school? And then you see the second 6 weeks from 93.6, an increase to 95.3. So we're excited about those. We'll have a little bit of a lull at Christmas, and then, in the spring semester as we move toward the end. So we are working monthly in principal meetings to continue to focus on that. So good positive report for that.
Yeah. And thank you to y'all and to our principals, who I know who have been pushing. There was, I saw it in my own household after COVID, where there was this whole idea where kids, then everyone thought we didn't have to go to school, and and so getting that kids back into campuses and our campus leadership really and teachers creating the relationships with those kids so that they prioritize being on campus each day. I think that's great work on all of our teachers and campus leadership, and thank you for y'all for supporting them in that.
Yeah.
All right. So moving forward, we're going to do an update on academic programs, and Dr. Gomez is going to help us with that.
Dr. Kingman, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board, this evening, as we discuss an update on our Reading Content Selection Committee, we always begin all committee work with connecting back to our district goals, prioritizing student engagement and student outcomes, cultivating trusting partnerships, and providing efficient, safe learning spaces that promote student achievement. So our Reading Content Selection Committee work began with the 22-23 school year. I would like to recognize Angie Pigeon and Claire Hogue, who chair this committee. They are here with us in the back this evening, and they really lead this work. So Angie and Claire, I saw Claire waved, but in case you didn't see both of these ladies. And the way this committee was formed, any stakeholder in the district was invited to attend from elementary, middle school, and high school. We have both a general committee and an executive committee. And on the general committee, it's a very large group, close to 100 members, and those members include parents, staff, and community members. The executive committee are actually voted committee members. And the difference for individuals that serve on the executive committee, they have additional time that comes with serving in those roles. So last year, the work began around instructional materials, and there's a difference. Instructional materials come with assignments that a teacher gives in the classroom. So if you think in a secondary setting, in high school, we tend to think novels. And if a teacher assigns a novel and a parent says, I don't wish for my child to read that selection, we always offer an alternative. Where you see referenced on the slide deck, tag work, that committee was tasked with quite a heavy load around identifying potentially sensitive topics. So potentially sensitive topics could include violence, domestic violence, suicide, murder. A book could have multiple potentially sensitive topics. They spent a lot of time. And we could click on the link and you will see for every course the books in the course and a list of potentially sensitive topics. So again, parents can say, I don't want my child to read that, and they're given an alternative. And that took a whole lot of time for the committee and for Claire and her staff. So a lot of hard work. I think they're quite relieved that is done. They're nodding their head and they're smiling.
Dr. Gomez.
Yes, sir.
And those are sent to us we get those through the state, or they approve those and then?
So
they
it's
send them to us?
multiple resources.
Okay.
Claire and her databases, there's lists there. The committee had to come up with a consensus, and there'll always be differing opinions, but they don't just make these things up. They had to make some decisions. And again, I think what's so important is that we always give an alternative. And what's so important is that a parent is a key stakeholder in that, because a teacher is tasked with teaching the TEKS. And so there's multiple ways to do that through literary elements. So that was the heavy lift of this committee last year. And then so that's why there's a difference between the general committee, which is a very large group, and the executive committee, because the executive committee had additional meetings and an additional load from the general committee. And but then the executive committee would inform the general committee of their work. So that was 22-23, and then we fast forward to the 23-24 school year. And during that time, the legislative session met. This for me. And as you all are aware, there were a lot of bills passed, and one of those was House Bill 900. However, San Angelo ISD, we were ahead because last fall we had adopted a local policy, EFB local. And in EFB local, we could pull it up, it outlines protection from inappropriate materials and specifically procedures on informal and formal library book considerations. But a lot came out in that legislative session around House Bill 900. What San Angelo ISD did was we consulted with our attorney, and our attorney advised us to consider our local procedure around any library book considerations. So in our policy, we have both an informal process and a formal process, which can be seen in that policy. But what I want to highlight for all of you this evening is what is so important is if a library book is brought forward for reconsideration, the entire selection has to be read, not just a portion. That is super important. And how that connects to this reading content selection committee's work this year is that if you're on the executive committee, they have just elected new executive committee members for this school year. Those members read the entire piece of work. So key pieces in our policy, if a book is challenged for reconsideration, a librarian, because part of the formal schooling and training for librarians is understanding book selection. So a librarian has to be part of that process. An educator that works with students of that age has to be part of that, and a parent. Also, part of our process is parents can see through their child's Destiny or SOAR account a library book their child has selected. Claire sees students all day, every day, and she says to them, if you don't like this book, go get another book. So no child is forced to get any book. And that applies to every library in our system. So if a book is formally being challenged for reconsideration, this committee has to read the entire piece. There is a formal rubric. The committee makes their recommendation, and then that is presented to the individual who brought it forth. And that's just kind of a summary of that process. Now, with House Bill 900, we do expect further information to come forward from the Texas State Library and Archives Commission in January. Once we have that guidance, we will continue to modify accordingly, but that's just where we are currently. And moving forward for our work this school year, we do have our new executive committee members, and we will continue to meet this spring. And that's just kind of a real quick recap for this evening's academic update. Any questions?
First off, I just want to thank you all and that entire committee. I know there's parents, teachers, I know there's Hunter, I know Angie and Ms. Ho, y'all have done a bunch of work back there as well. And I want to thank y'all for being proactive in this, because really we were ahead of the curve as far we saw that books were going to be a hot button issue, and I appreciate the fact that everyone has gotten on board and getting ahead of the curve to come up with something to where books match what our community expects to be in our library. And we expect, and I appreciate the fact that and not to get into details, but I'm sure there are books that we have taken out of our library, and there are books we have remained in our library. And both of those are good. That's good for public education. That's good for how we teach our kids and move forward. But the fact that parents, teachers, community members are all a part of that process is perfect. I think, quite honestly, our policy should be the one that everyone follows, obviously, because I think it's a really good policy. I think y'all have done an excellent job creating a system that embraces embraces our community and deals with the issue head on. So thank you for all of y'all's work on that, and thank you for the parents and teachers who have given time, and other leaders in the district who have given time to make that happen. So
I will second that by saying that I've worked alongside Claire and Miss Pigeon, and I can't think of two better people to lead this. I've sat in meetings with Angie, and a student questioned a book, and the next day she has come back and read the whole book. And I've been in the Central Library with Claire, and all librarians work hard, but I mean, in 3 years, I never saw Claire in her office. She was out there working, finding things for kids. But the thing that impresses me the most is when there is an issue, both of these ladies, and I'm sure their committee addresses it with dignity and with grace and no judging. You know, if a student or a parent says something is wrong with the book, then they're very open to say, okay, then let's find something else. So I appreciate the work that I see these two ladies doing. And I mean, the fact that they can go home and read a book in a night always impressed me, because it takes me like a month. So thank you too.
Well, I too just can't thank them enough. And as you said, our parents and our teachers, they have their full course load and the grading and all the things that come with it. So sometimes the process is not as fast. Mm-hmm. But because they do want to do the process justice, they do so thoroughly. So we just want everyone to know that it is a true process, and we value libraries, and there are varying ideas and opinions, but we do have options, and a parent is a key part of their child's education. So if they want another book, there are other books for them to get. We just want libraries to be full of books, not empty spaces.
one other thing I want to just reiterate, you said it, but just to reiterate, any parent can see any book their child checks out in our library system. We have a computer system in place for that. So I just want to reiterate that as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I just had a follow-up question on that. Is there a way to, like, block them from checking out a book in advance if a parent was?
Not in advance.
Okay.
But all they have to do is contact the school and contact their librarian.
Okay. Thank you.
And I should say not currently anyways. There's advancements. In fact, Ms. Huddleston and I just had a conversation. As this all is progressing, you know the power of technology. So I should say not yet. Yet and until are two powerful words.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for all this.
Not working again. Okay. Gerard loves when my button doesn't work. He always makes fun of me. Okay, so just a quick question, and I should probably know this as a parent, but so if a parent wanted to look up the books that their child checked out, where do they do that? Because I haven't
So
seen that.
they would have to go through their child's Destiny or Sora.
Sora, okay. Okay, and then also just to tag on to what Taylor and Pam were saying, when I went back to my high school in Florida for a high school reunion, we took a tour of the school, and the library that used to be full of books in a room probably this size or bigger had just a small bookshelf in the center, and those were the only books in the library. And when we asked why, they said because there was so much trouble with books in the community that they just took them all out so that there wasn't any trouble. So I really appreciate all of the work that all of you are doing to make sure that our kids have books in our libraries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So now we're going to move forward with in our reports with a partnership with Goodfellow Air Force Base, and thank you all for staying and being here for till just now. Probably should have moved that forward in the agenda. So thank you.
Well, it's my pleasure to very quickly bring up to the podium Colonel Angelina McGinnis, who's the commander of the 17th Training Training Wing, and Colonel Damon Dalby, commander of the Mission Support Group. So if you'd like to join us.
Good evening, Dr. Kingman, Dr. Detloff, trustees. We're very pleased to be with you this evening. We're not going to give you an update about Goodfellow or the 17th Training Wing, but we are going to take a moment to thank Dr. Detloff for all he's done for our children that are part of our family on Goodfellow Air Force Base and in 17th Training Wing, and certainly part of our community of San Angelo. Our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and guardians, and the couple Coast Guardsmen that we have, you know, when they move and they have a permanent change of station and they come to another city, another base, another community, they have varying degrees of difficulties when their kids have to go to school. What I have seen, since I've been here since 2020 now, so I think I can almost consider myself a little bit local as far as someone in uniform goes, is that this school district and you, Dr. Detloff, have always been open to the concerns of our military families, the concerns of the base, and in supporting those military children to have a seamless transition from wherever they came from into our community and into the San Angelo ISD. So I truly appreciate, on behalf of the men and women who serve at Goodfellow Air Force Base and within the 17th Training Wing, thank you. Thank you for making it a little bit easier on those families. Thank you for making it easier on those service members who worry each and every day that they're doing the best things for their kids and sometimes make a choice to get out of uniform because it's better for their children to remain somewhere for long term versus move around and do America's business on all of our behalf. So thank you.
I will just add one thing. If you want to read something pretty amazing, Dr. Detloff's letter to the Altus Trophy Board, which is the Community Military Relations, will speak a lot about who he is. It's pretty amazing how much he cares. I mean, just you can read in that, how much he cares for kids, but how much he cares that military-affiliated kids fit in the community and continue their education. I sit on the MIC-3, the governor's MIC-3 board, and I can tell you everybody tries, but this community succeeds at making that education seamless, and I am a parent of a Glenmore Elementary School kid, so thank you very much, sir.
So on behalf of the soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, guardians, and 2 Coast Guardsmen at the 17th Training Wing and Goodfellow Air Force Base, we'd like to present you with Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle, which is this is the statue that is right at our front gate. Welcomes folks on to Goodfellow Air Force Base. We want to give you that. And then I've got my commander's coin that I like to present to you.
And I know, Dr. Kingman, that Colonel McGinnis and her staff are leaving for the evening, but I just want to reiterate the importance of Goodfellow Air Force Base in our community. My spouse is a military child and went to 3 different high schools in 3 different continents. What we can do for our Goodfellow Air Force Base children is just an integral part of our fabric of San Angelo. So they make us better, and because of their service, we are allowed to have a free and appropriate public education system in our state. So we appreciate their service and dedication and partnership in our community.
All right. That's not, yeah. All right, so we are going to move forward with our agenda. We have consent items A through D. A is consider donations. B is consider cooperative purchasing organizations. C is consider local board policy updates, district innovation. And D is consider superintendent's recommendations for personnel for school year 23-24, which was 2 additional folks that were at our desk today. Do I have a motion to approve consent items A through D?
Make a motion to approve consent items A through D.
Second.
So I have a motion from Mr. Gallegos and a second from Ms. Mizell Flint. Any board comments?
I do want to comment on item C, if that's okay. I did ask Farrah. It's on District of Innovation. And it's just, I guess it's my little soapbox moment because of, it was it 22.004, which was Texas code, Texas Education Code, which requires all districts to participate in the group health benefits plan, TRS. And when we got on that back in 2007, we knew that once you got on, you could not get off of it, regardless of how expensive it became with the employees. A year ago, District of Innovation added an exemption on there saying you could be exempt from the group health benefits plan if you find something that costs less to the employees. And I was telling Farrah that while I was looking all this up, I looked at the new requirements or the exemptions that he removed that were removed off of it, and that was one of them. That was the very first one they took off of there, because after I saw that, since it was the first one, I said, well, let's see how many of these school districts that are on District of Innovation have the same request we had. Every one of them, A through Z, had the exemption from the TRS plan. So I figured, okay, because with TRS, you couldn't get back on for 5 years if you got off of it. So, like I told Farrah, I just want to make a comment that it's just their way, it's just the way of, let me start over on that. All of the requests started with, in order to help keep local control, we'd like to be exempt from this. And it was taken away. So it's just my little soapbox moment that, you know, public education, that's another thing they're doing right there that's been done by the state. And it's just, I just want to make that comment that we were looking out for the best interest of our teachers and our employees. And we can no longer do it. We have to stay on that TRS. So I just want to make that comment. It just upset me earlier. So thank you.
Any further board comment? Thank you, Mr. Gallegos. So we have a motion from Mr. Gallegos and a second from Ms. Mizell Flint. All in favor of consent items A through D, say aye. Aye. All against, say the same. Motion passes 6-0. All right. We now have item 10, which is consider the bills, accounts, and financial statements for November 2023. Any have a motion to approve that?
Move for approval of the bills, accounts, and financial statements for November 2023. And as a side comment, just to those watching on our public access channel, Channel 4, all of these reports we reviewed in our pre-agenda meeting at length and delved into. And if there's a personal question that someone would have, all of these reports that we reviewed can be found online. Our website, saisd.org. There's a sub-tab that's entitled District, and under that District tab, there's a tab entitled Financial Transparency, where you can find all of these reports that we reviewed and potentially proving or not on that on our website.
So I have a motion from Mr. Dindal. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Dr. Mills. Any further board comment? All right, all in favor say aye. All against say the same. Motion passes 6-0. All right, we now have consider the financial integrity rating for San Angelo Independent School District. It's a public hearing, but we're also going to use it as a time to celebrate some great people who work our district, who have worked very hard to put our district in good light and with great results.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Kingman. The following up from Mr. Dindal's comments on the website and the transparency is a great segue into our next recognition. So before we move into the first rating, I want to tell you a little bit about this award. So founded in 1910, the Association of School Business Officials International, ASBO, is a nonprofit organization that its members and affiliates represent approximately 30,000 school business professionals worldwide. ASBO International is committed to providing program services in a global network that promote the highest standards in school business. Its members support student achievement through effective resource management in various areas ranging from finance and operations to food service and transportation. ASBO's International Certificate of Excellence recognizes districts that have met the program's high standards for financial reporting and transparency. San Angelo ISD earned the Certificate of Excellence for its annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended 2022. The annual comprehensive financial report informs stakeholders about the financial and economic state of the district, making it an important communication tool for building trust and engaging with the school community. This evening, it's my pleasure to recognize SAISD Comptroller, Mr. Jaime Guerrero, along with other members of our business team, Hope Flores, Director of Financial Services, Christina Chavez, Budget Coordinator, Investment and Cash Manager, Kathy Jordan, Coordinator of Financial Services, and Wesley Smith, Staff Accountant, for their exceptional work in earning the Association of School Business Officials Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting. So we appreciate them. If we could give them a round of applause. I thought it appropriate as we were, the auditors have been in district looking through documents and asking for folders, and during that work, I went in and met all of them, and they made the comment about Jaime, about how much they appreciate his work and everything that he does for the audit. And so this award, totally separate from our auditors, just kind of brings home the dedication they have to the district and making sure that everything that goes on in the business and the financial aspect is on the website, answer the questions. And so I really feel like our community has access to that, anything that they want to know regarding the finances of the district. And so with that, Mr. Guerrero is first up to talk about the first report because he's right at the heart of that work.
Dr. Detloff, Dr. Kingman, trustees. I'd like to add a little bit to what Dr. Brandon said about our team here. He mentioned our finance team, but I'd like to include the many other people that contribute to our financial success and transparency here at the district, and that goes all the way down to the individual financial secretaries at each elementary and secondary campus, as well as our AP team, our payroll team, our team over at purchasing, because you know the audit's once a year, but it's the day-to-day things that they do that keep us in the clear when it comes to audit. It keeps us doing what we need to do for kids, and it's, like I said, it's a daily battle, and they're the ones that are doing the hard work, the heavy lifting, so. So we're certainly proud of that award, the ACFR for our annual audit, and as our audit comes ever closer, you'll see us again next month. We hope to continue that tradition. But here we're here to discuss our first audit, our first rating from the state of Texas. It's an annual report card that TEA puts out to ensure that Texas public schools are held accountable for the quality of their financial management practices, and that's something we take great pride of here at the school district. In your packet, you'll see that our 22-21 first rating is an A for superior achievement. And to say that this would be new would definitely be wrong, because we've had 21 years of superior achievement in this district. And as anyone that's coached any kind of team before, you know how difficult it is to get on top, but it's even more difficult to stay on there. And so it's just a credit to our team and the perseverance that they show every year to make sure we stay on top. Now the district has, the state grades us on 20 factors, and they do this for every school district, so we're not unique. And they have traditional scale, A, B, C, F, with points allowable from 1 to 100. And I won't touch on all of them because you have a packet that goes into detail on them, but I will mention that a lot of these factors cover the things we do here on a daily basis, and that you provide both guidance and support for, such as having positive fund balances, using those monies responsibly, paying our bills, making sure our debt, our long-term and short-term debt is covered. Things like having cash on hand to cover those liabilities, ratios such as our current assets to current liabilities to make sure that we can pay those bills on a timely basis. As well as budget variances. Every year we have a big budget, and we're held to that, and so we're held to a 10% variance throughout the year on the original budget, and so our team, I know, has done a good job, along with your leadership, to make sure we do that. And most importantly, the first 4 factors are critical factors, so if we fail one of those, it's an automatic fail for the entire district. And 2 of those relate to our audit, making sure we have it filed on time. And there's Mr. Max Parker used to like to hear to have a clean audit. So definitely that's something we always strive for, and we've certainly been lucky and skilled to make sure we do that. So overall, like I said, superior achievement for the district, which we continue to do, and provide financial transparency not only for our staff, but our community as well. Does anyone have any questions?
I just want to thank your team, all of y'all, and just point out that, yes, you were A in Superior, but you also received a perfect score this year. So that's even harder to stay on top and get a perfect score. So thank you for all your hard work.
Definitely, thank you.
Just a real quick comment, Jaime.
Yes, sir.
This is the 21st year of excellence, and before I got on the board, this district did go through a period where we either almost filed for financial exigency or we did. I can't remember because it was so long ago. So this takes a sting out of that happened back then. It really does. We've come a long, long, long way in the last 21 years on this. So thank you for all your work, and especially all the people that are underneath y'all that work with you guys. So thank you again. And
We appreciate it, and as always, we're committed to continuing that excellence.
So that will serve as our public hearing on that. We don't need to make any motions or vote on that. So we will move forward. Next on the agenda is consider restructuring academic program at Central and Oaks. And Dr. Detloff is going to help lead us in that.
Dr. Kingman, members of the board, I will take a final board meeting privilege and commend Jaime Guerrero and his staff because there is a direct correlation with the financial savings attributed to that great department in our school district. And like he mentioned, the campus, from the campus secretaries to the principals, all the way to the business department. So there's a direct correlation with this agenda item as well, and that's in the cost savings initiative. And Jaime, I did want to say that numerical grade out loud. I believe it's 100. And we certainly understand that in the A through F world, but I appreciate the 100 that our school district has scored in 21 consecutive years of extreme, supreme financial integrity. You've noticed your agenda item entitled Restructuring the Academic Programming at Central Oaks. I wanted to start with the last year and a half. We have been studying and researching, examining our instructional arrangements at Central Oaks and Central Main Campus. For our viewing audience, Central Oaks, formerly known as Central Freshman Campus, CFC, long ago, many years ago, Edison. So that's the structure that we're talking about, and currently it houses our 9th graders in the Central High School feeder pattern. There has been, really, we need clarification on really the rumor mill that's widespread in San Angelo, and that is that as we've researched and looked at the best options for our academic programming at Central Oaks, the rumor mill has said that we are selling this to Shannon Medical Center. That is not true. We own that building, and one of our charges moving forward is to do twofold. We either need to examine how we can repurpose that building, or indeed, at some future point, we may want to look at options to sell that building. But there have absolutely been no formal conversations with Shannon Medical Center, no formal conversations with the city or anyone else on the potential sale of that building. That building currently is not for sale. Right now, when we look at our academic programming there, both of our principals, Jill Ross this year, our former principal Bill Waters, have helped us study this issue and really looking at instructional minutes in the classroom for our students. Now, a silver lining of this agenda item is one of the instructional minutes are problematic because we have increased and expanded our course offerings, and so many freshmen now are permitted and transported to Central Main Campus to take a widespread of course offerings that better fit their degree plan. So there are some benefits that we have seen in expanding course offerings, but it also causes us some great dilemmas in transporting students and kind of impacting our instructional time. So as a reminder, both these sites are currently under the same code or the same campus number in the Public Informational Management System, our PIMS report. So according to the state of Texas, Central Oaks and Central Main Campus are under the same number. Those 9th graders right now count towards accountability at Central Main Campus, so they're not separate campuses. They're under the same accountability requirements. So one of the findings that we had was that our 9th graders are missing significant amounts of classroom instruction in the transition with busing from Oaks to the main campus. Students many times are missing up to 15 minutes of class time each period, making the transition when they ride our school buses. Knowing this, even last year, I rode one of the buses from Oaks to Central and clocked it at 13 minutes in additional time in helping our students get to their classrooms on time. So we needed to look at this. If you add up these minutes of the course of 170 instructional days, it adds up to quite a significant amount of lost instructional time. As we indicated, both of these campuses are under the same PIMS number, and with our new accountability system in the state, Central High School with our Central Freshman group, that comprises 30% of our accountability grade for San Angelo ISD. So if you think about a great portion, a quarter of our students at Central High School are missing key instructional time, that impacts that 30% total in looking at our accountability ratings. Moreover, we realize that success in a post-secondary environment will really be way after they graduate from Central High School, will be enhanced by having more instructional time at one central campus. So what we have on the table in our recommendation this evening is that we want to move all of the academic programming, the core academic programming, from Central Oaks to Central Main campus. We would, however, we still need that campus and some of the facilities for athletic purposes, our practice teams, the gymnasiums where our teams play, the practice fields, and also for some of our physical education classes as well. Also, our CATE, the Career Tech program, many classes such as welding, we need to utilize the facilities that are currently available at Oaks. Now, you've heard that cost savings, we believe, will generate between $500,000 and $700,000 a year, coupled with an additional $300,000 in transportation savings. So we believe that if we move the academic programming, the core academic programming, to Central Maine, it would save approximately $1 million a year in our general fund. As indicated earlier, we do know that about a 1% raise for all employees is about $800,000 in this district. We also know that an additional savings of about $800,000 could purchase about 7 yellow school buses. So, I think the opportunity is to enhance our general fund. And then when you look at the great work that Dr. Brandon and Jaime Guerrero have in our business department, along with the staff, there are 60% of school districts out of basically 1,020 school districts. 60% of school districts in the state of Texas adopted a deficit budget. So any cost savings that we can generate going forward helps us not to adopt a deficit budget. And again, because of the work of our team here and our campuses, we are in the clear in SAISD and have 21 years of exceptional ratings. But 60% of the 1,020 districts in the state of Texas adopted a deficit budget because they are waiting on the legislative bodies that are in stalemate right now over educational savings accounts, or AKA vouchers. They're holding our teachers hostage because the $5 billion is sitting there ready to go to our public school systems so that school districts don't have to adopt that deficit budget. But in San Angelo, we have been frugal, we have been proactive, we are looking and peeking around the corner in anticipation of what our financial needs are, and we are looking at ways that we can consolidate some of our campuses, including many of our aging facilities that we are having constant upkeep with plumbing, HVAC, and other needs. So after this year and a half of research and examination, we continue to look at options that are best instructionally for our kids and that are cost containment considerations for our school district moving forward, knowing that no state monies, no new monies are coming our way. So when you think about our general fund and those monies, we believe the administration recommends that we move the academic programming from Oaks to Central Maine campus starting in August of '24. And with that, we'll be glad to entertain any questions, or we've got our staff here too that can provide even more details than I have this evening on that recommendation.
Dr. Detloff, I will speak to the academic side. And when we talk about accountability, Biology 1, English 1, Algebra 1 are our STAR tested, our EOCs. Those 3 tested subjects are well, not math right now, but they were on the freshman campus. And the instructional time that those students were missing is paramount. And, just for the public, I personally stood in a parking lot as the kids got off the bus from Maine and rushed them, hurried them. And I don't know if you've ever tried to hurry freshmen to class. It doesn't go very well because they walk one speed. And we have to remember, too, that not every student going into the English classroom may have been at Maine. So the students that were already in the classroom, anytime someone comes in, there's disruption. And the teacher did a phenomenal job of, either catching them up. It was just very challenging. So from seeing that side, I think moving those core subjects to Maine is the absolute best thing that we can do academically for our kids and for the teachers.
And Ms. Duncan, you have been in the arena, and I appreciate those comments.
Yes.
Dr. Detloff, I know you haven't mentioned it yet, but I know that we have some significant needs infrastructure-wise at the Central Freshman Campus, which may allow us to save a little more money to put back into the educational process for kids by abandoning a portion of those, not all, but a portion of those facilities moving forward too. So there's could be some additional savings there as far as maintenance is concerned.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dental. We would, I believe the majority of that is plumbing. Is that correct, Dr. Brandon? And we would need to shutter some of those main core buildings to realize the cost savings, with heating, cooling, all of those things, running water to those buildings. So we would definitely need to shutter some of those main buildings to realize that cost savings. But yes, sir.
Dr. Detloff, I know we've been kind of talking about some of the changes that would be made, that would need to be made for all the 9th through 12th grade students to fit on one campus, but I was hoping that maybe you could just tell the audience some of the things that we would need to do so that their kids can not feel crowded in the
Sure,
classrooms.
and Dr. Brandon, would you like to come up here with me, and I'll give it a go at first, and then you can expand on it. One of the things, Ms. Mazel-Flint, that we're doing is we have the option to relocate our technology department to one of the schools that we are repurposing. So we have that option to relocate our technology department to Alta Loma to utilize that space. And then that would free up an additional square footage that Dr. Brandon probably knows to create additional classrooms. So that is one way that we can ensure that we have enough. I believe, I might get this wrong, but I checked earlier, is it 837 students today or 937 students? But there are also, some of those numbers are students that are actually sophomores, right? Reclassification students maybe. But if somebody has that data in front of them, how many current 9th graders? Seems like maybe it was 837 or 937.
And Dr. Detloff, just as they were finding that number, and maybe Ms. Ross may be a better answer, but currently, several class periods a day, there are only 200 to 250 students that are on the Central Freshman Campus currently. All of those, so of that 837, whatever the number, 872. Thank you.
So we could probably, as you mentioned, defer to Ms. Ross. She probably knows them by name, or Mr. Kalmbach over there. How many do we have at the freshman campus, or approximately? 872. Okay. And then could you all help expand on the reclassification, because some of those may be students that don't have the required credits to be a sophomore, but they're still counted as a freshman? Okay, let me, Dr. Brandon, would you come up here and...
Well, I was just going to say that when it comes to instruction time, they do go by minutes now, as of 2015. And if you're taking 15 minutes, that's 2,550 minutes that they're losing at 170 days. of the 75,000 they're required. So, yeah, it makes a difference, 15 minutes. And you add
I
all
think
that together, it's
I
a lot
saw-
of time they're missing out of there.
Yes, sir. I saw one estimate, it could be as high as 36 class days of instruction.
Yeah, yeah.
36 days missed out of 173, which is very hard to catch up from, especially with all the other days that they might
Yeah.
miss for athletics or.
That's true, Dr. Brandon, but I want to just make sure for anyone listening, because it sounds like I don't want them to think that their kid is not getting what they need.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyone listening, we realize they're missing minutes, but teachers do a great job of, offering tutorials or weaving in that extra time to make sure that they're getting all of the TEKS and the curriculum they need before. It's just challenging, but we're not, our students are getting what they need. It's just challenging, more challenging than it should be.
Yes.
I just want to make sure people understand that. So
Yeah.
sometimes it sounds like our kids are missing instructional material. They're missing a little bit of time.
Well, it causes extra for all the things the teacher's already balancing with the other students in the room and starting a lesson and then kids coming in and the lesson's already begun and then having to leave early to go load a bus. So teachers already have very full plates.
Also, Dr. Brandon, you mentioned that part of the technology department will be moving to Alta Loma. Some of the Alta Loma campus we will be abandoning here shortly as we transition those students into to Fannin. But there is a portion of the campus over there that is newer, that is still sustainably infrastructure-wise to move forward with a move for part of our staff to move into that, but obviously not enough to function as a whole school there.
Right. The main portion of the campus where the offices are and then the library itself are newer builds, newer infrastructure as far as plumbing, water lines, HVAC. So those are certainly could be sustainable and cost effective. And then the other buildings that are older, could be removed at some point as far as being shuttered or completely removed from the campus at that time.
Okay, thanks.
So I think the question was, as far as plans on that technology area, with the work that we're doing with Park Hill in the district right now on the two different campuses, the builds, we had them come in, and so they brought in a mechanical engineer and to take a look at the facilities along with the electrical engineer, and they can, between the warehouse and the offices that technology occupy, they can add 7 classrooms, and then there's a room that's empty at the moment, currently being used, semi-teacher's lounge, could also be converted, and so we would gain 8 classrooms in that move.
I think one thing that's important as a board as we move forward is the fact that obviously with trying to balance what is best for students and funding, and the only way we can do what is best for students is be able to fund running our schools. And if we're spending all our money on replacing sewer lines and HVACs, that there are more efficient ways to run our district, we need to be looking at that. And my personal take as a board, we need to be bold enough to be willing to do that, because although we talk about it in big terms, $800,000 is a 1% raise for all employees, or the reality is money and fund balance allows for us to support teachers and support staff who create relationships with students, which leads to kids' success. And we need to be doing everything we can to put money in the right places to have that happen. And so absolutely, it needs to trickle down to students. It needs to be, but the way we do that from a policy level is to make sure that we are creating funds that then teachers and campus leadership can then request as part of the budget process, and that we are not, as a district, we're not siphoning off that for maintaining facilities that may have a better way to be run. And I think that was the impetus for starting all of this process months ago. I appreciate what the board, the cabinet team and campus leadership who have spent a lot of time looking at how this can work. I know I don't want to speak for Ms. Ross, but I think with a nod of the head, she would love to have everyone on one campus. Okay. And so the amount of work that's gone into this, I think is important to recognize. And Dr. Gomez and the whole cabinet team and Dr. Brandon doing all of this. And part of the reason we brought it to put it on our agenda tonight is as we heard with McGill, there are things that we need to order in order to try and make this work, okay? And we're going to do everything we can to make it work, but we do need to move forward with, if it's something the board desires, we need to move forward with it in such a way that we can actually get it done for next year, and so we're not scrambling to do something last minute when we've done all the preparation in advance, but then we didn't move forward in a timely manner. And because of the fact that there will be financial requests in the future that the board will have to approve in order to make this process happen, although moving academic programs from Central Freshman Campus to Central Maine really isn't board policy. That's not really what our role is. I think it's important that we figure out if the board can support this in our administration and moving forward in this, and we do vote on the process so that as the financial requests come in the future to actually bring this to fruition, we have given the administration team and the campus leaderships at those campuses a clear directive on where we want to head. So, any questions or comments?
I was just going to expand on the first part of your comment that the money that we're saving for this is not earmarked for any particular purpose at this time. It's simply to be used whenever the budget comes up next year. We have the opportunity to have extra money to spend on programs or whatever, teachers, whatever we need to do. So it's not earmarked for anything particular at this time. Is that correct? Correct. But yes, I agree. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad that y'all put this plan together for us.
If there's no further board comment at this moment, I will make a motion to approve the restructuring of academic programs at Central on Oaks to facilitate all academic programs being on the Central Maine campus.
I'll second.
So we have a motion from myself and a second from Mr. Dindal. Any further board comment? All in favor say aye. Aye. All against say the same. Motion passes 6-0. We're going to move forward with our quarterly investment report, ending on November 30th, 2023. Of note, the total district investments at the end of the first quarter was a big number, $85,910,812.77, with a total interest earned of $980,401.72. A motion to approve the quarterly investment report ending November 30th, 2023.
Dr. Keeman, I think this report came up on a regular item is to show the increased interest earned by wise investments in the district for this comparative quarter to last year's comparative quarter. So I'm not for sure that it's pacing the same as additional costs, but it does help defray some of the costs of some of the rising costs of just doing business as a school district from year to year. And with that, I'd move for approval.
A motion from Mr. Dindal. Do I have a second? And a second from Mrs. Duncan. Yes, I do want to reiterate, like when we have Jaime's team here and Dr. Brandon, like the folks that have helped navigate a very, we've heard stories of other districts not capitalizing on interest rates as well as our district has. And so we want to appreciate the fact that people are working hard and looking at the numbers and making sure that where there are spots where we can safely invest our fund balance, et cetera, that we're doing that and actually getting yield from that, which we allow to, again, put into our fund balance and make progress for impact on students. All right, so we have a motion from Mr. Dindal and a second from Ms. Duncan. If no further board comment, all in favor say aye.
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 And all against say the same. Motion passes 6-0. All right. Mr. Henry, there he is. We have RFQ 23-026, Fine Arts Consultant Services.
Thank you for having me here tonight. Tonight I bring forth RFQ 23-026, Fine Arts Consulting Services. During our facility walks at San Angelo Central High School campus, it was determined that the Sarah Bernhardt Theater needed extensive work to be done to bring it up to district standards. As discussions began about possible work, the administration decided it would be in our best interest to bring on a theater expert to assist in all phases of this project. This expert will assist in 4 areas: review of the facility, recommendations for improvements, assist in the development of bid documents, and assist in project management and oversight. An RFQ was prepared looking for a firm that was qualified to assist in these areas. Bids were received and 2 companies submitted documents. Proposals were reviewed, and it was determined that WJHW offered the best value for the district. At this time, the administration recommends contracting with WJHW of Carrollton for fine arts consulting services for the total price of $94,500. Do you all have any questions over this?
Mr. Henry, it may not be a question for you, so anyone else can chime in. What groups are currently using Sarah Bernhardt? What student groups are using it on a regular basis or would use it if the AV equipment worked? I mean,
I was actually just writing a list of all the things that I've been to.
We'll let Ms. Mizell Flynn answer.
I was literally just writing a list of all the events that I have been to at the Sarah Bernhardt Theater. I've been to band concerts, choir concerts, plays, speech and debate performances, presentations to students. We used to have PACE graduations. I've been to SPED graduation ceremonies there. I would say that venue is used by thousands of students a year. So students use it over and over again. But I mean that if we're looking to find a way to impact kids, I think putting money into our theater would be doing that.
Band can't currently use it.
Right now they can't. Well, they use it on, they've used it in their like spring concerts and they have to do it all day long, the small bands. But yes, but you're right, they can as a whole.
We pay for Murphy, we pay for, because of our system and just the facility in general.
And one other thing I was looking at on this, because as was mentioned, and I guess we can comment on it because it's public comment, but it's a big number. But one thing I was looking at, it does continue the oversight of the project afterwards, and it's a flat fee. So as opposed to a lot of firms that once the bid would come in, we would then have to do a cost plus. This will include the oversight of the work at the point in time we agree to do something. So that does make the number, assuming we as a board are willing to move forward with doing something, that makes the number seem much more palatable because it includes that percentage that would typically be under a general contractor.
You can also add, those are secondary, like high school students. Our middle schools don't have space to host their events. So when I was personally a middle school principal, we would have to use that facility because we didn't have a space to hold our events. So it's more than just Central High School and their sponsors.
I did mean that when I was saying I'd been to all those. I'm sorry, I didn't make that clear, but yes, I mean, it's been, I can't count the number of times I go to the Sarah Bernhardt Theater every year, so, for kids.
And just a reminder that Sir Bernhardt's just been, I guess, Band-Aided every once in a while. You know, we've never really done a lot of, and there's a lot of old equipment there. People don't realize how old it is. I think the only thing we ever replaced on it were the curtains, or the show curtains were ever replaced, but it was on the last proposal that we had put out back in 2019. Of course, that didn't work, so, you know, it needs to work. It needs to be done, so.
You're correct, Mr. Gallegos. It was earmarked for repair in the 2018 bond issue to refurbish it because it is in need of some repair because of not necessarily neglect, but some prioritization of facility needs and student needs moving forward. So at this point, again, Dr. King makes a good point that we wouldn't have to hire a construction manager at risk or anything like that beyond that, because these people would oversee the process. In addition to that, not that something I thought of before, but these people may have a little more expertise in repair of theatrical facility sound equipment than a standard general contractor would. So they might have some better and more efficient ideas on how, again, we can move forward by saving funds but making it the best facility for use by our students.
The only other thing I would say is, obviously, with our band involvement increasing, the success of our speech and debate teams and our fine arts, like both high schools need to be able to support students whose success is found in multiple different areas, and if we need to have facilities at both campuses that allow for that, and so that makes sense to me. So, all right. Well, do I have any other board comment? Okay. Do we have a motion? I'll make the motion. I would recommend we contract with WJHW of Carrollton for fine arts consultant services for the total price of $94,500.
Second.
So, motion from myself and a second from Mr. Gallegos. All in favor say aye. Aye. All against say the same. Motion passes 6-0. All right. We have announcements. One, our finance and pre-agenda workshop was moved to January 16th. So same date, but it's a different meeting. The workshop is the 16th, and our regular board meeting will be on January 22nd. I just want to again tell Dr. Detloff thank you for your time here in our district. And with that, no other business. Meeting is adjourned.